All right. So, welcome to each and every one of you. All of those who know me, hello, welcome back again. All of those who don't know me, I just want to invite you, if this is your first time joining a Swayam Parent Empowerment webinar in collaboration with SNCC Rehab Foundation, a very warm welcome to you. Here we are today for our last webinar in the series. It's called Empowering Parenting, Navigating Special Needs with Confidence and Care. So I am Dr. Shivani Pandit. I am a special educator. I have been working with children with autism and intellectual disabilities for the past 27, 28 years. And I founded Samarthya Foundation with a specific mission to support families that live in areas or locations where there is no access to resources. And so thank you again for taking the time on a Friday evening. I know time is very, very precious. And आप सब यहाँ आए हैं, so we are very happy to share what we know, our knowledge in supporting your needs for your child at home. Today, our facilitator is Ms. Riddhi Dedia. She's the Director of Programs at Samarthya. Riddhi, say hello, just wave to everybody. And Riddhi will be facilitating the session. And our speaker for today is Ms. Kritika Grandhe. Kritika is our Program Manager and Special Educator here at Samarthya. Some of you may know Kritika from the Klavananda sessions that she does, and you will get to know her a little bit more today. And of course, I wanted to welcome, Harshali Kharche, who's the founder director of SNCC Rehab Foundation. This next few slides are actually going to be about SNCC Rehab Foundation, since Harshali couldn't make it here. So I want to welcome everybody on behalf of her organization as well. SNCC Rehab and Samarthya Foundation have collaborated on many, many different projects since 2020, and we have similar mission and alignment. I don't know, Harshali, are you there? I can't see people, so I don't know. But if you're there, stop me. But if she's not there, I'm going to continue to tell you. For those of you who don't know SNCC Rehab has a vision of supporting parents of children with special needs. And their mission is to sensitize and educate everybody about the challenges that a parent face, as well as providing perspectives about therapy and approaches that favor a child's development. Basically, SNCC Rehab also conducts a lot of different programs like awareness programs, parent empowerment sessions like this one that we are doing right now, financial advisory programs, advocacy-based programs for the rights of the parents, community support for parents of children with disabilities, and many other support systems. So Harshali Kharche is an absolute steadfast advocate for supporting parents and children and inclusion. And it's always my pleasure and my honor to work with Harshali and SNCC Rehab. So we are here today for this series, which is going to be, like I said, conducted by Miss Kritika Grandhe. So Kritika, thank you so much. Before I say, give it over to Kritika, I want to thank the rest of my team here. So we have our occupational therapist, Kanchi Goswami. Kanchi, say hello. We have Vanessa Norona, who's our program coordinator. And whoever else that I can't see on the screen, we have Dora De Silva, who's our special educator, joining us as well today. You may not be able to see her, but we have our team, here to support and answer any questions that you have, along with Kritika and Riddhi. So with that, I'm going to give it over to you, Kritika, but I think I need to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
Yes, thank you so much, Shivani ma'am. And once again, welcome everybody. I'm Kritika and Program Manager and Special Educator at Samarthya. And I'll be starting today's webinar on enriching our home environment. So I would like everybody to have their mics off, but I would like everybody to be interactive over the chat box. My team is there to support you all, and if any questions, we can have it at the end of our session. So I get started. So I'd mainly be talking today about how we can enrich our home environment. As everybody knows, it's very special and it's very important for our children to have a enriched home environment, having it filled with comfort and ease for our children. So as we say, the house is the first school for our children. We need to also keep it so comfortable and for them to have it really feeling, at ease for them to be themselves and to get their warmth and love from the parents. And also, I'd be talking about how we can understand a behavior, how we can analyze what a behavior is, and I can also get through all a few techniques and strategies to help your child at home, and also how to create visual schedules according to your child's need with simple material at home, which is useful for all our children. So here, so as I said, it is very important for us to have an enriched home because it is a crucial part for our child to have an emotional support, to have the opportunities and to learn and explore to their maximum, to their fullest at in their house. So, how parents are a crucial part for us in today's session. We are going to see how you all are going to help your child and help them to see how we can support in a home environment, and also how we can manage our behaviors in a positive way, because positive parenting is something which is very important for our parents. And also we'll be focusing on different communication techniques, what we can teach them, and how we can enhance different techniques and strategies to help them with any skills they learn. And also our final and major part is self-care for parents, which is really important for us to take care of ourselves, to give a positive and to be calm towards our children, to have an enriched home. So here, our first and foremost steps is, while we are having a child who is on the spectrum or who is with special needs, they usually like their structure and routine to be set and to be predictable, where they feel assured and they feel very independent while using the routine on a daily basis. And also, it's very important for us to have a sensory friendly environment. And also, I'm going to give you all some strategies and ideas how you can manage meltdowns when your child is going through something. So each of this point I will be going through in detail, and please let me know if there's anything I would like to repeat or you would have some doubts. Please feel free to share it on the chat box. Okay. All right. So here's the first one where I'm going to focus on telling you all how we can create a visual schedule. I'm sure everybody has some idea on what a visual schedule is, and how can I tell it is so important that your child is, most of our children are visual learners. So a visual schedule is really, really necessary for our child to have a routine and also follow it and become independent in their day-to-day life, in the skills they do at home. Also, it can be used in at school and both at home as well. So also, I'm going to tell you all how it is so easy to have some changes, going to be flexible with your schedule, and how we can inculcate flexibility as well as predictability in your schedule. Okay, so here are some of the examples I'm going to show you all how a visual schedule is, so that everybody knows what I'm talking about. So each child has a different level of comprehension and understanding. So while we are creating a visual schedule, we have to keep in mind what is the comprehension level of the child. How can the child understand when I create a visual schedule? So this is an object and a picture visual schedule. So when a child has difficulty reading or has difficulty in understanding pictures, so we can actually make a schedule using objects. So if you see, I have put in the picture on your left, has a object schedule having a Play-Doh representing playtime. And we have, it's a complete playtime routine schedule, which I have given here. First, the child maybe play with clay, and then he understands I get a ball time. I play with the ball, and then he's going to have Lego. So there's a time where he can play with Lego, constructing something and creating something. So this is a play schedule with objects where the child is able to understand really easily. So on the right, we have picture schedule where the picture of each skill or each activity is stuck for the child to understand what comes next. And it's also numbered for the child to understand what comes one after the other. So next is another example. Here I have given about a picture schedule. Again, it's a playtime routine for the child. So he can, when we are singing a song, maybe like the old MacDonald or something like that. So we can show the child what comes next, what he can sing next, what are the sounds he can for each animal. So animal playtime, song. So this visual schedule can be used in a very effective way when we understand what is the child's comprehension level, and we can also make it useful by putting in the exact and the correct visual schedule for them to understand. So as I said, picture schedule or the object schedule. So few children are very good at reading, their comprehension level is good, but when it comes to a routine, they have some challenges. So we can have a written schedule like this, what I have put in. So this is something on a day-to-day schedule, I can say. So visual schedules can be for a day or for an activity. You can create schedules for your child. So our main reason for creating schedules is to give an assurance to the child, to give them some predictability, to give them, that assurance that, yes, this is what I have to do. These are the tasks for me to finish in for the day. And then I get to do my next schedule or I'm done for the day. So here, when I say breakfast, then he does yoga, then there's a math activity, then there's playtime and lunch. So you can break down your schedule. And since we have so many activities for our children, we can also break down our schedules for a morning schedule, an afternoon schedule, and a night schedule, because it's going to go long and long if you're going to put many things at one time. And it's also going to be too much for the child to look at and to understand there are so many things for him to follow one after the other. Okay, so here there's another example. So here this is a visual schedule with the child's own picture. So at times maybe children would not understand a written schedule, neither an object or a picture schedule. Here we can put in a schedule with the child's own picture doing an activity. Here the child is having a breakfast. They are sitting together. So you can click pictures when the child is doing the activity, and you can put in your schedule. It's the rest time or the sleeping time, bedtime. You can click a picture of your own child so that the understanding and the comprehension for the child is much easier than to comprehend what does this object mean, or what does this picture mean, or what is written if the child is not able to read. So this is how we can effectively make visual schedules for the child to follow through their everyday routine. But our ultimate goal is to make the child independent without having prompts or without getting help from others to follow through the day one by one for them to become independent. That's our ultimate goal. So here again, there's another example where I have given, this is completely but little bit same as the visual schedule, called as an activity schedule. Here you can make a schedule for the child based on the activity the child is doing. So here is cleaning bathroom. So you can split down your steps for the child to complete the task one by one so that he can achieve, and there's a sense of achievement for the child once he completes the task, which is really helpful for the child to feel accomplished and happy about him doing the task. And he gets visual supports from looking at it. So this can again be written or object or picture based schedules, whatever feels comfortable for your child. Okay, so our next main topic, after we have learned about visual schedules, which we will be again touching base on the visual schedules in the later part of our PPT. I'm also here focusing on a sensory friendly environment. So when we say our child, how well we know our child, what are their needs, what can be done at home to help them feel comfortable, regulated, and emotionally supported, and all of that. So we are also having a few tips and techniques for us to have a sensory friendly environment. So if you all had attended last week Dr. Kanchi Goswami's session, she had mainly focused on our sensory needs for the child, where each child has a set of sensory needs, how we can address it, and how it can be fulfilled for the child to regulate himself and feel comfortable. So here, when the child is at home, how we can provide some sensory friendly modifications for the child. So I'm going to go through each point for you all to make it more understanding and more self-explanatory here to help your child. So the first point is a clutter-free, quiet, and comfortable space. So when we say a clutter-free space and a comfortable and quiet space, few children are hyposensitive or hypersensitive to an environment which is quite noisy, or they have trouble having a lot of mess around them. They always feel to have a structure and having things in its place. So we can make sure our space which we give for the child is quite clutter free, is kept neat, and also with the soft lighting. So the soft lighting says we can have our room or the place where the child is mostly working or spending his time can be little lighter lights, which is or bright lights, which can be comfortable and soothing for the eye, as well as it is relaxing and creates a calm environment for the child, so that he focuses more on his activities than getting too distracted or to getting too uncomfortable with the light, which is really bothering him on the run. Okay, and next comes when we are saying a sensory friendly environment. So once we understand what kind of sensory needs my child needs, does he seek visual sensations, or sound, or touch, or it can be anything he wants to smell. It can be customized accordingly. These are all friendly and sensory friendly things which we can get it at any shop, or where we can purchase it to keep it handy for our children to use it when they need. So some of the sensory friendly items like weighted blankets or fidget toys or sensory friendly furniture, which can be of soft leather, or it can be a textured material where he sits, or it can be something where he uses a table where for his work he sits and works at this his table. It can be maybe customized into putting some kind of a texture for him, so that he has that sense of feel. Also, you can keep in some things which has smell for him to smell, something like flavored, like our natural things like mint, or it can be something of flowery essences which he can use, than doing an inappropriate behavior of smelling different things which is not socially appropriate. We can provide children with something more socially appropriate things, which helps the child to satisfy their sensory need. And also calming colors. When it comes to colors, where we have, and I can understand it's not very easy for everybody to have uh, an environment which is completely friendly for your child. Redoing your complete house is quite difficult, so maybe we can also focus on the space where the child is mostly spending his time, where we can create a space where the colors, or there is no very bright light which is completely disturbing his sensory need or his mind or his senses, where he gets a very uncomfortable, very restless. So we can see like purple is something which is a cool and a calming color for the nervous system, or blue is considered soothing, green is refreshing and cool. So these are some examples which I have given as calming colors. So this can be customized according to your child's need, can be something which is very mild and soothing for the child than something which is very bright and getting a cause or uncomfortableness in his daily schedule or routine. Okay, and next comes some of the things which we can use for children who have a lot of hypersensitivity to sound. When if you have a very noisy environment or a noisy neighborhood, you can use something like noise cancelling headphones for your child, where he gets very restless or anxious over listening to a lot of sound, or listening to a lot of noises coming from the surroundings. You can use something like a noise cancelling headphones, and also an example of decorated with texture. So if not a complete room or a complete space for your child or your complete house, to make it sensory friendly, you can have a wall which is sensory based for your child's need. So here we can see some textures which is soft, which are rough, which are scrubby, and which are nice on your palms, which he feels good. So it can also be mixed with some fidget toys. It can be mixed with something which for his hands to feel like slime. So you can take care of what is more important for your child, to understand what is his needs and decorate. Or you can use some examples from the items I am giving you for to encourage and to have a enriched home environment for your child's sensory needs. Okay, so at a point, so when these things are very difficult to do it, or to inculcate at your home environment, here are some of the strategies and to manage your child's meltdowns. I can't say this can be the same for all children, so because each children functions in a different way, and requirements are different. So some of the points which are quite common and used under practice are like, you give them calming devices, something which they like, which they would like to use, keeping it in their hand, feels safe and feel assured. Something like fidget toys, or they get something, whatever they like, they like a toy or a car or a ball, whatever they like, you give it to them so that they feel more relaxed at that point. They feel more calm. And also we can use something like breathing exercises or meditation, or something like counting 1 to 10. These are things which we need to teach the child on a regular basis for them to adapt at that point. So when the child has meltdowns, it's very difficult to teach them that this is something new for the child to adapt and to regulate themselves. So these can be taught as stories, or it can be done on a daily basis, or you can be modeling it to your child, where they can calm down, they can breathe, or they can have counts from 10 to 1, keeping their eyes closed. So these are some strategies for your child to help them calm down during meltdowns. And also very important, when children have some behavior issues, or they have some self-injurious behaviors, it is very important for us to make sure the surroundings or the environment he is in at that moment, it may be a room or it may be a living space, to have things which are a little away from the child, so that he doesn't use them to injure himself, or he doesn't injure the people around him. So keeping an environment where you can remove the dangerous things which the child may get hurt for himself or may hurt others, it's very important for us to make sure there's nothing like that around him. And also when it comes to us as parents, we have a lot of stress in our mind, and when the child has a meltdown and it is going on for a lot of time, it's natural for us to get very tensed and to get very frustrated with the child. So it's important for us to have ourselves calm and relaxed, and also have a neutral voice when the child is having a meltdown, to understand what his emotion is at that point, to also help him what he can do at that point to regulate himself. So raising your voice or getting very frustrated may also trigger the child, or it may sometimes not feel give an impact on the child, which has there is not going to be any benefit or input from being very frustrated or changing your voice or making yourself very angry at that point. Okay. And sometimes we also, the child needs his own space, his own comfort. So we can also let the child calm down and relax for some time. We can step out, we can stay away from the child for a while for him to calm down by himself and get back to normal after a while. Okay, so another thing which I came across, or it can be also research based, is using lavender oil as a calming essential oil, which helps many children, which can be used to calm them down and relax. So this again depends on your child's needs, and if they are comfortable with scented oils, or it can be scented candles, or whatever feels relaxed and calming for them, can be adapted in a regular basis to help them calm down and feel relaxed. Okay. So here, when I speak about a sensory friendly environment, and then we come down to how we can regulate a behavior. So we also should understand what a behavior is and how we can analyze this behavior to help our child better. So we can't say that each behavior, what is learned, can also be unlearned. It can also be improved, and also we can understand what is the reason behind the behavior and what is it giving for the child, this behavior. Okay, so here, so this is something, as we all know, what is a behavior. It may be different, it may be really changing over time for each child. So what is their response and what do they feel about it? Why does it occur? And how many times it occurs? What is it which is triggering their behavior? And all of this we can understand over a period of observation. We start observing the child's pattern of behavior. We see how this can be regulated and how we can help them in a proper way so that they feel better. And this doesn't maybe occur the next time if we are able to help them in the right way. Okay, so first, when we are understanding a behavior, so we are understanding what are the challenges, identify what are the behaviors, why is it happening, what is causing the behavior, and that is when we be able to define this is the reason for the behavior, and we can analyze and we can record to help the child to not occur or not to trigger this problematic behavior in our children. So how we can identify, or what are the causes for behaviors. So these are one of the most important things to keep in mind when our child is showing a problematic behavior. Why is it happening? So we need to question ourselves to keep in mind these 5 to 6 points which I have put in here. One is a medical concern. Is the child having, a headache, or I'm just giving some examples like some stomach pain, ear pain. What is there something which is which the child is not able to express with his amount of communication, or his verbal needs are? Is he not able to express his medical concerns? Or again, the most important part may be the sensory issues. Is it happening because he is hypersensitive or hyposensitive to something in the environment? Is it the light, or is it the sound? Is it what he is doing an activity? Is it like he's moving too much, which is getting him too tired and stressed? Or is it the communication issues? Is he not able to use his words properly to tell you what is happening? I'm hungry. Maybe I'm feeling sleepy. Or, I am not able to, move my hand. It's paining. So there's some pain, there's an ache, or, he has some hunger or sleep issues. He's not able to communicate. That may be issues for a challenging behavior to occur. Or the next point is task avoidance. This is again important while we are working with the child. When a child is avoiding tasks whenever he is sitting down to do an activity, so it may be too easy for him. Maybe the activity is repeated too many times for him, which is causing a boredom for him. This is something I've been doing regularly. This causing a lot of boredom to me, so I don't want to do this task. Or it may be the reverse of it. It is too difficult for him, the level of task which is given above and beyond his comprehension or his level of performing the skill. Maybe very difficult where the child needs a lot of help or is not able to understand what is expected out of him. So that is the reason he may be using showing out some challenging behaviors like running around, moving out from his place, not sitting in one place, or not listening to what you're trying to say, all the task avoiding behaviors. Again, it may be an attention seeking. Okay, so when children are continuously doing a behavior and look out for attention, when the child's attention is not met, when the teacher or the mother in the house has divided, the attention is divided between your elder or your younger child and not completely given attention to your child, he or she may show out some challenging behaviors, which also is for us to be understood. What is this behavior? Is it something which he's seeking attention from us, which the behavior is occurring? Or it may be some environmental stresses. When I say environmental stresses, it may be difficulties with socialization, or it may be like when there is a crowd, he may be not happy with being in a crowd, or maybe a noisy environment, or he may be not feeling really happy about maybe when he sees a swimming pool, or when he sees something, a lot of moving traffic on the road, or maybe he's stuck in between traffic. All these environmental stresses may also cause some challenging behaviors, which all these points we need to keep in mind when we are trying to analyze what this behavior can be and what are the causes behind this behavior to help our child in a better way. Okay, so next comes a simple and an easy technique for everybody to try it out when you are facing a challenging behavior. This is called as the ABC analysis. I'll also be giving you all an example to make your understanding better. So you can also make a note of this and you can use it on a daily basis when you are facing a lot of challenging behaviors with your child. So A stands for antecedent. So when I say antecedent, it is something which happens before a behavior is occurring. So when a behavior is occurred, what has happened right before the behavior? So you're going to see where the child was, what was he doing before this behavior occurred, and what were the environment, in which environment was he, and who were around him. All these observations and analysis is called as the antecedent, which comes the first step, antecedent A, and then behavior. So you're going to analyze, you're going to understand what happened during the behavior. What was the child's behavior? Was he pushing? Was he pinching? Was he running around, not sitting in his place, not giving attention? What was the behavior? You're going to record this under behavior when we are observing. And then comes our final step, the consequence. So when we say the consequence, we are going to understand what occurred right after the behavior. So here it involves not just the child, also the people around him. What was their reaction? What was the child's reaction to their response? And what was done when the child was showing out this behavior, what can be done and what was done to control the child. All these analysis and recording would be on observational period. We will be able to understand what is the cause, what is the right cause behind this behavior occurring to my child, what is the trigger, and how it can be regulated, and for us to avoid the trigger for this behavior to occur again. So here I'm showing you all a simple and an effective example here where you all can look at the picture, you can see what is happening and how the child has also regulated himself when it comes to the consequence. So once we have observed and analyzed, we are prepared for the child when something of this scenario is happening, how we can use a consequence for the child to regulate himself, or neither for the child to trigger this behavior again to stop occurring this behavior. So here, when we see there is a birthday party in the neighborhood, the antecedent is something which is happening before the behavior occurred. There was a birthday party, and everybody knows how a birthday party is quite noisy. There's a loud music. There's people running around, jumping and walking. So there's a lot of chaos happening in the neighborhood. So the child becomes anxious and restless and throws a tantrum. So this has been happening over a period of time. Once we observe, the child becomes very anxious and restless because the child is hypersensitive to loud sounds, and he doesn't like listening to a lot of chaos and a lot of people around him causing a lot of sound. So when this behavior is going to be occurring, we are also going to be prepared. Once we know this is the cause, the child is not comfortable with loud sounds, we give him a regulating thing like noise cancelling headphones, or we try to take him away from that situation. We take him away till the noise is reduced, or when you're staying at home, you try to close the windows and the doors for the sound to reduce, for him to regulate. So this is a very simple and an easily explainable example for you all to understand that we need to observe this behavior which is occurring and what may be the cause, so that the next time we know that this behavior may occur, we are already prepared to help the child without this behavior to occur or to trigger him in a challenging manner. Okay, so this is ABC analysis. If I have to again repeat myself, so antecedent, behavior, and consequence. This is the analysis record. We can use it in a simple way just by noting down in a worksheet or a book, which will help us to identify what is the cause behind this behavior. Okay. Here, so there are some strategies and some techniques and which may be really helpful for our children when we can use it when we are working with the child, we are teaching something, or to follow a routine. What are the strategies and techniques we can use for the child to make it more easy and more effective learning for them? So the first one, as I told you all, I'll be touching base again on the visual schedules. So visual schedule is our first key point where we need to remember that visual schedules is something which helps the child to understand what is the routine, what the child has to follow on a daily basis, what are his activities which is expected from him to complete. So these are which will help us to understand in the visual schedule. Okay, so when we come to visual schedule, as children may also have sensory needs, where we just spoke about how we can address a sensory need by modifying our environment. Sensory breaks can also be included in our schedule. So when the child is not able to sit for a long time, when we are working with the child, we are expecting the child to learn something sitting with us, but it may be for a duration of half an hour or it may be a duration of 1 hour, but your child doesn't have the ability or the sitting tolerance for such a long period. It can first be done with a schedule which is easy, the tasks which are easy for the child for him to settle in down, to comply to your instructions. The schedule can be done with easy activities, and it can go on to a little advanced activities later with a sensory break. When I say a sensory break, again, we need to understand what kind of sensory break does the child need. Is it a visual sensory, or is it a tactile, or is it audio, or is it a touch? What kind of sensory need? Does he need something for movement? Does he need a movement break? So all these things which the child requires to be kept in mind, we can make a schedule accordingly. So once the child is doing art, then he may be doing science, then we give him some time to maybe walk around or maybe do some physical exercise. Maybe if he needs a movement, we can play a song, a movement song for him to maybe relax and come back to activity with regulated mind. Or if he needs a tactile touch or a sensory need, we can provide him something like clay or a kinesthetic sand or slime, what he can use, or something which if he needs a smell, like we can provide him something which he likes, which can give him a break from his work, also regulate himself and come back with complete focus and attention towards his task, so that he can achieve it with more confidence, and success rate is more when the child's sensory needs are also addressed during an activity when the child is required to sit for a long duration. Okay. And again, next. So this is something which I'd like to share about positive reinforcements. So when we are working with the child, so this is something we all do, right? When the child is achieving a task and we are really happy, we reward something to the child. We say, wow, good job. Really well done. Or we give them a high five, we give them a clap, we say good job. So that's how we do positive reinforcements. But we need to keep in mind, when the child has done a desired behavior, something which we have asked the child to complete and has done it in a correct manner, is when we reward the child. So we need to be really careful when we are rewarding, we are based our activity on rewards. If the child has achieved the task in a desirable manner, so when you say, please complete this writing work, so the child has completed the writing work, is when we give a reward. Complete writing your A to Z 5 times. When the child is done a task which is desirable for our instructions, is when we give a positive reinforcement, so that the child understands that yes, when I do something which is expected out of me in a correct manner, I am getting something what I like. So when we are giving rewards, it can be verbal rewards, or it can be something which the child likes, like a playtime, a play toy, or it can be something what he likes to eat. It can be again age appropriate for the child. So if it is an adult, you may be giving him verbal rewards like good job, great job, good doing, and something. If the child is in a younger age, maybe you can provide him with something he likes, like a toy he plays with, or he likes to read a book, he likes to see some book, he likes to do something which he's always listen to music. So something which the child is awaiting for it. So this behavior, this reward which we give after a desired behavior, should be something motivating for the child, which he would be awaiting to get it from you if he has done a desired behavior. This is how positive reinforcements work. Okay. Yes. And the next one I'd like to talk about is, as I said, some strategies and some techniques what you can use while you are teaching your child a task. It may be not just academics. It can be something related to learning how to do ADL skills, so the activities of daily living. So he may be taking a bath, brushing his teeth, or combing his hair, or it can be, helping you uh, set up a table, or it can be sorting a vegetable or something like that, which each task may be a complex task for the child, which is too much to achieve at once. We use something called as task analysis. It's breaking down a task into smaller and more simple steps. Okay, so when the task a big and a complex task, so we feel like brushing, maybe that's very easy and the child does it every day, but he may be having some difficulties with some step. So he may be having difficulties pressing the paste out on his brush, or he may be having difficulty running the brush through his mouth, or he may be having difficulty to spit out or washing the brush, keeping it back in his place. It has a lot of steps involved in one activity. So when we say task analysis, we can also create something which is visual for the child. Here I have taken two examples. One is brushing teeth and one is taking a bath. Here, when you see brushing teeth, so the first step is collect your supplies. So you have to take your brush and your toothpaste, your tongue cleaner, whatever you use. The second step is wet your brush. So it goes, the third step is open the lid of the paste, squeeze some paste, and then wash your brush, wet the brush your teeth, top, bottom, side to side. And once you're done, you spit it out. So all these steps are broken down into smaller and simple steps for the child, where you can also visually represent to the child and also have it as a check mark checklist. So when I say when the child is done, so the child ticks it, or you can help the child to understand this step comes after the next, like a checkbox, a check mark where the child says, yes, this is I'm done with this step. I go to the next step. And this is done, I come to the last. And we also can have a finish card, or you say, I'm done. That kind of a card where you say the child is done with the task and he knows he's accomplished it successfully, with some visual prompts to look at the picture and the steps for him to remember what comes one after the other. So this can be done to any kind of an activity. It can be a cooking activity, a cleaning activity, academics, or it can be something where he has to learn a new skill, like maybe tying a shoelace, maybe wearing a shirt, or it can be any kind of an activity. You can use a task analysis strategy to help your child. Okay, and next is a very interesting strategy. Again, what I'm going to talk about is chaining. So what is chaining? As you all know, as you can see in the picture, chaining is something, it is interconnected to one to other. So here, when we are using the chaining strategy, we need to keep in mind the flow which we are using to teach a child, what we are expecting the child to do in a systematic and in an order we can teach them. Or it can also be when your child is having too difficult to achieve any task, you can also teach the steps which are easy first and later go on to the advanced steps. For example, here there are three types of chaining. Well, I'll take you all one after the other. So first one is forward chaining. So what means by forward chaining? There are a lot of steps you have first broken down an activity. So forward chaining is teaching the first step to the child and the following steps are supported by you. So here, while using washing hands is the activity. So pressing the soap may be the first step the child can independently do, or you can teach the first step till he gets independent to achieve the first step. And later steps can be supported by you for him to complete his task completely, to feel success that, yes, I have completed the task. So forward chaining is something we teach the first step and the later steps are helped. The same is the backward chaining. It's the opposite of what we did. We help the child from step one, and the last step is what we ask the child or teach the child to do it independently for him. So last step is drying your hands, wipe off your hands and you're done. So the last step is done with by the child. Until he gets independent, you are going to teach the child the last step. Once he's got independent with it, you go to the before step. That's the 8th step. Then once he learns the 8th, you go to the 7th. That's how we use the backward chaining. And the forward chaining is you go from starting to the last step. Okay, so here also, as I said, there are 3 ways of chaining. One is forward, one is backward, and the other one is total chaining, total tasks chaining. So here you teach them each step one after the other. So you don't do any step, you teach them, you completely support them. Here, when an activity of cracking the egg. So first you teach them how you beat the egg at one place, you pull the shell apart, you put it into a bowl, and the egg is cracked. So all these steps are taught one after the other, completely teaching the step total task chaining, where you help the child to do all the steps. It may be with support, with minimal support, with verbal instructions, but the child does the entire activity themselves. Okay, so these are 2 main strategies which are really helpful when you are teaching an activity or a skill to your child, which you feel it is complex, the child getting stuck somewhere. This is something which can use, which is task analysis, or it can be chaining. So these are the 2 strategies which I have shared with you all today, which is most effective and easy for you all to understand, and how to break down an activity into simple steps to teach the child effectively to complete the task, to learn it entirely by himself at a point. Okay, so later, so once you know these strategies, we have talked about a sensory friendly environment, we have spoken about visual schedules and everything. This is something which I'd like to share with you all, where each parent at a point is stuck with how can I engage my children when I am busy with something, or when I am not able to address my child's need at that point. I am stuck with something at home, at work, or it can be something which you cannot be there at that point. These are some of the activities I've listed down. You'll be having many more ideas, or also you'd be doing many things with your children, which I may have not mentioned it here. So these are some activities for your child to keep them engaged at some time when you are busy with your schedule. So here, for children between 5 to 9, I have put in something like sorting vegetables, fruits, and pulses. So this cannot just be like a filler or a engaging activity. It can also be a sensory activity, a visual sensory, where the child looks at different colors of pulses and sorts it. Vegetables has a scan at all the vegetables, has a lot of attention towards what he is doing and how he separates it and he sorts it. So this can also be a filler activity come a sensory activity for the child. You can also include them with house chores. When you're doing something like you're cooking, maybe you can ask them to sort these vegetables for you. You can ask them to wash these vegetables for you, or removing a pea from a pod, it can be that. Or you can also ask them to maybe pick up some dust, or you can teach them to sweep, or you can ask them to use a scrub to wash a vessel. So you can include them with folding clothes, making a bed. So all these activities can be taught to the child and can be engaging and can also be interesting for them. And you don't have to also be with them once they learn the task. You can ask them, can you please do this for me? Can you please make your bed? Can you just fold your clothes? And this can be an activity for them to spend their leisure time, or their time which has you don't have to assist them. So it can also be some fun activities like drawing, painting, reading books, or reading a story, where you can also use some finger puppets or hand puppets, where you can engage your child when he is bored, or you need to also, this helps in increasing his vocabulary, the modulation of you talking, and how each sound is produced. hand and finger puppets can also be used, and also something like origami painting, origami paper folding, gross motor activities for the child who always likes to be on a move. You can include gross motor activities, bilateral movements, brain gym, music and movement. All these are movement based activities for your child to engage themselves, also to regulate themselves who are on a move always. So on the right, I have mentioned some sensory activities for your child. So based on what kind of need your child is, you can also look out on Google for activities. You find a lot of activities for your child on your on need base. You can see if your child needs some activities for visual sensory. For auditory, you can use some shakers, some movers, and or if your child needs some tactile activities like water play, playing with clay doh, kinesthetic sand, or you using hand painting or finger painting. So all these are focused on our sensory needs for the child, where you can engage them with these sort of activities at home. All right. So when I go to the next age group, I've just put an age range between 10 and above. So you can, when the child is above and is in his teenage, you can also increase the level of your activity and also see what he can do for his developmental age. It may be reading some books. So here I have mentioned Story Weaver. So Story Weaver is a website where all of y'all can go to, and all the material is, the books are free of cost. You can just look and you can download the book. You can read the child, you can make your child read the book, or you can read it to them. So this is a very useful website with lots and lots of books under very different topics, where you can teach them emotions, you can teach them the social skills and different kind of topics, where you can find a lot of books and Story Weaver. All right. And maybe again, I put in some sorting vegetables, and you can ask them to arrange things in the fridge, or arrange your vessels, crockeries in its place, washing their vessels, where you can use with a scrub. Again, when I say using with a scrub or using with soap, again, it is giving some sensory input for the child, where there's some kind of a rough surface where he feels nice on his palms. Also playing with water, using water where he feels nice when he does an activity like that. Mopping and sweeping, where he understands to keep his environment neat, where you are motivating him to keep his surroundings clean. So you can involve him with these kind of house chores, maybe folding clothes, watering plants, making the bed. So all these kind of activities, where you all can get creative. What kind of activities can I provide to the child to keep him engaged, and to give him something when he is free and has nothing to do out of his academic work, or when he is free and I'm not able to assist him. So these kind of activities help them to keep themselves engaged. So again, sensory activities, here I have given some few examples, like maybe playing with bubble play, kinetic sand, slime, nature walk, or finger painting. So again, focusing on each sensory need, whatever the child is required, he requires, and what regulates him. You can, based on that, you can choose your activities and help them to fill their leisure time to keep them engaged, and without your assistance over a longer run. Okay. So here, and we are almost coming to the end of our presentation, where I said how self-care for parents is very, very important. How you take care of yourself before you are managing your child's emotional needs, your child's developmental needs, and their regulating behaviors, and how you deal with your stress on a daily basis. It's quite important for us to also have importance of how we manage our stress, prioritize our needs, how we take care of ourselves, and how we are also seeking some support from the community. So when I say seeking help from the community, how your relatives can help you with it, how your neighbors can help you. And again, coming to our most important circle of support, when we say our teachers, the therapist, where we all play an important and a crucial role with our children, where we are working very close to the child. You can seek help from there. You can be very communicative to your teachers or your therapist working with your child. So these are the things I'm facing with my child. If you can help me, or what are the things I can do for myself to make me more calm and relaxed. What are the things you like? You may be having hobbies and interests where you can take out some time, where you can keep your child engaged with some activities and prioritize your self-care, and release your stress and your worries with having a stress-free mind. Then you also can seek help from the coordinators in this child's school, the directors, and also your people around you, always who you are in touch with, in contact with, helping your child in some or the other way, like your housekeeping who comes home, interacts with the child, how you can help them to also, help you to regulate yourself, and they impact your child life every day, who he meets on a daily basis. Maybe in India, when we have people coming home, supplying milk, supplying newspaper, how they can also have a communication, developing some communication with the people who come in our lives on a daily basis. And also when it comes to in a school environment, how you can seek help from school head, administrators, staff, and all your help in the class, or everybody who comes in contact with your child in some or the other way, where all of these people act as a circle of support for your child, which can help them also to have you and for your child to feel happy and safe in a place. Okay. And when I also talk about circle of support here, when we are um, working very close to the children as therapists and as teachers, when I come to my last slide about talking about our own organization, about Samarthya Foundation. So I would like to tell you all about a little about Samarthya, where we are offering child focused sessions, where we are providing one-on-one therapies for your child, group sessions for more increasing and enhancing social skills. And there's something called as Club Ananda. If many of you all are with Samarthya for a long time, you would know what Club Ananda is. It is a recreational session we do for all children across all age groups, weekly twice in the evenings. So this is what Club Ananda is focused on. We're also having some parent focused training. So parent training, and it can also be something at our center in Pune, where we have a family resource center, where we are offering an offline training for you all, and hybrid, where you can approach to us for an online training. You can seek help from us, what help you need and what support you need for your child. We can give you a one-on-one coaching. And also we have our inclusive storytelling, some books where we are offering. If you can go on to our website as www.samarthya.org, we have some books where you can just sign up to our website, and you'll be able to access all these books, resources for your child, and which are focusing on inclusion. You can read it out to your children and you can use them. Also, we are having our ambassadorship, where you can be a part of our team, help us, and also learn some skills where you can help your child at home. So this is something a little about Samarthya Foundation. And here I've also this is at the end of my presentation, and here I'd like Riddhi to talk a little about Swayam series, which we are going to conduct in June. So Riddhi, over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ms. Kritika, for such an enriching experience. We loved all the information that you gave. It was really helpful. Just to continue, parents, we will have Swayam series in June. So, with the responses and with all the interest that you have shown, we are planning to continue with our Swayam series in June as well. The 4 new topics that we will plan to address is going to be NIOS, since this is an area which all of us, have a lot of questions on, we will have an outside service provider, a resource person who will tell us more about NIOS, positive parenting, sensory challenges, and many more. Please feel free to share if you would like us to add any topics of your interest where y'all are facing challenges. We would love to address that and get experts on board to talk about it. Thank you so much, parents, for being so patient. Let us move on to questions. The first question we have, Miss Kritika, is from a parent called as Suhina. She says, what if they don't comply any instructions? How to make them do the chores?
So, sorry, who is this question from?
Suhina.
Okay, so when you say they're not able to comply to instructions, is it something very difficult? Is a task which you are providing it to them? Is it very difficult to understand or to do it completely? Is not able to follow your instructions? So as I said, maybe you can break down your task and you can give them a simple task where they can achieve the first step and go on to the next so that they achieve your task completely and you can help your child that way.
Actually, it's not difficult for him to do any task, but still he ignores it. He does his own thing. Actually, he is 8.5 years old with ADHD. He can do good things, but he doesn't listen to me. He doesn't comply any instructions. If I tell him to do the homework, he will not do. He will do. Even if I make sure I ask him to sit down, he will not sit. He will play. So it's not that difficult for him, but still. Lot of
Okay.
compliance issues are there. Lot of means what to say, escape behavior is there.
Correct. So when there's a task avoiding behavior, again, we need to see if your child's needs. So when he likes to be on the move, are you providing him a lot of movement based activities? Is the activities what you're giving him is very easy for him, or is it something which he's already done it a lot of times which he doesn't want to do it, or is he just tired out of after school activities? You need to just, as I said, analyze what his behavior may be and you'll be able to help him in a better way.
Like nowadays, summer vacation is going on. Even if I say just to keep his books in the bag or keep his things in a proper place, which he can do easily, but he ignores it and just
Right. Correct. So here at this point, you can also include your rewards for him where he is motivated to receive something from you when he completes a task. So you can find out what he really likes and he looks forward on an everyday basis. He likes to play something or he has something which is, very motivating for him to do it every day. So when he completes a task, you can reinforce him that you would be receiving something if you complete. So first finish your task and then you'll be getting something. So that's when a child gets motivated to complete a task which he's trying to avoid.
actually sometimes the reinforcements work, sometimes it doesn't work. And one more question is there that he always hits his younger brother. Like he likes swimming. I said, if you hit his younger brother, then you will not go for swimming tomorrow. But he's not listening. He's just hitting.
Right. So when there is a hitting behavior, again, you need to make him understand, maybe using some pictorial representations of maybe social stories, how you need to take care
Actually,
of
the
your.
hitting behavior is only with his brother, younger brother. With other friends and all, he plays. He shares his toys. He shares his everything, toys and everything,
Right.
stationaries and all in school also. But this behavior is only with his younger brother. He doesn't hit other kids, neither
Right.
in the school nor in the playground.
Okay. So, if I can maybe I'm just assuming maybe, the attention he is receiving from you, maybe not really, he is not very satisfied with it. Maybe the attention you're giving towards your younger child may be more than what you're giving it to him. Maybe he feels that I need mama's care and attention more. That may be the reason he is, outbursting his emotions on his younger brother when he feels that my mother may be spending more time towards him and not towards me. Maybe this could be the reason for his behavior to hit his brother when he sees you around him more than you being around him.
No, nowadays I don't compare also with his younger brother, and neither I praise younger brother in front of him. So I've stopped doing that, but still this doesn't go.
Right.
I
So
don't know
maybe,
sibling
yeah.
rivalry is there, what is there.
Correct, correct. So it may be you need to like try to analyze what his brother means to him, how you can read out to him some sibling stories where you can help him to understand that both of you need to be like friends at home. He's a friend for you at home, and all these kind of sibling stories where they get together, do activities, play together, each together. So these can maybe help him.
All the things he does, his younger brother also doesn't want to be without him. They both be together and they both fight together. That is the problem. They
Correct.
don't want, both of them don't want to be separated. Even if I take them away for 5 minutes after the hitting also, again younger one will also go to him and he will also go to the younger one, and they will both start playing or something, doing something else.
Correct, correct. So maybe I assume that that is maybe some way of showing his love and concern towards his younger brother. Also, he likes to be around him. But you can say maybe you can give him a tap, maybe not beat him very hard. It may be hurtful for him. So this kind of talk and affirmative talks could help him on a longer run. You could try these and you could maybe let us know.
Okay.
Yes,
Sure.
thank you so much, Ms. Kritika. This is a great way of answering the questions. Moving on, there are few parents who've also given some suggestions. So one suggestion is that he needs to get attention from you, is what I'm understanding. Give elder one attention when he does the work of hitting. I'm assuming, Madhuri, I think you're meaning that. Swastik says, I think, okay, hers is a question. So probably what we are saying is give reinforcement when he's doing a positive behavior. You can use reinforcement strategy. Moving on, we have one more question from Mrs. Vinamrata. She says, my child is able to understand my verbal instructions, 2 instructions at a time, and complete the task. Then also, do I need to use visual schedules?
So that's a nice question, Vinamrita. So when you say he's able to follow a schedule, so you can maybe fade it off when he is able to do his task independently without your reminders. So that's when we fade off a visual schedule. When the child knows what task is expected or what I am supposed to do right after this task. So that's when we stop using visual schedules. Till then, maybe it can just be like a support to him, for him to just go to that place to see, yes, this is what I need to do next, which makes him more independent and doesn't require your instructions or your need to keep reminding him. Hope that answers your question.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Kritika. We had a question from a parent earlier. Unfortunately, I can't see the name, but the question was how to teach the child the skill of using a toothpaste, because the child doesn't have the understanding of how hard to press it. How would you teach that to the child?
Okay, so maybe we can, when we say the child is not able to press, it may be issues with giving out pressure on it. Maybe you can work on his fine motor skills as well as giving out pressure with using clay. Maybe he can start squeezing in clay dough, or the chapati dough or something which is seeking some pressure, where you can find some fidget toys or some squishy toys for him to keep pressing it to understand that how much I need to, like, when. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Ms. Kritika. I think the parents meant that the child is giving too much pressure, so there'll be too much of paste removed. So how should we teach him to remove limited paste on the toothbrush? The parent who had asked the questions, it will be great if you can unmute yourself. Unfortunately, I couldn't see the name. That question has got deleted from the chat for some reason.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, please go for it. Yes.
Yeah. Ma'am, actually, brushing he is able to do properly, but when it comes to paste, putting paste onto the brush, either he gives more pressure or less pressure. Not only in that, even in the writing or bathing, everywhere, the appropriate pressure, he is not able to put that appropriate pressure. So I had this doubt.
Okay. So Riddhi, would you like to add in here?
Sure. So usually, what we do is we have to explain the child the meaning of appropriate. Now, if you go to see, the concept of appropriate itself is abstract, right? Something that is appropriate for me wouldn't be appropriate for someone else. So when you say appropriate, you have to tell specifically what do you mean. So you'll have to tell the child what do you mean. So maybe you can teach him sizes. So we could teach him pea size. So when the child is using a paste, it should be a pea size or a little line. And you teach the skill. You do a lot of role modeling. You could also tell the child to count a number. So 1, 2, 3, stop. So that would give him, okay, till 1, 2, 3, you have to press. And the amount of pressure also you teach the child. And then he has to stop. So it's not too much or too less. And say, for example, if it is too less in that 1, 2, 3, you can then use the moderations, decrease the counts based on how much he's doing. So there's going to be a lot of trial and error that you will have to do. But again, just like Ms. Kritika has shared in her workshop, these are generic ones. With your child, you'll have to see how does it work and customize it according to your child's need. So these are few strategies counting on and explaining what does appropriate or whatever that size or whatever quantity you need the child to press in, and teach him by doing role model. And this will definitely come by practice. One more suggestion I have is, if we feel that the child is finding really difficult to press, I would also suggest probably you have a container in which you have the paste squeezed out already. The child can just take a finger, he can just roll out the finger and then maybe he puts it on the paste. So these are few accommodations. We call it as accommodations that you can make based on the child's need. So, not all the skills are necessary. If you can still lead the child to success, which is very important for our children to see the success in whatever they are doing, by making these accommodations, it should be okay. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, one small thing, like for bathing, I'm making him to understand by applying lotion onto his body to make him understand that appropriate pressure. But when it comes to paste, what would be the alternative so that I can teach him apart from brushing also when we are doing tabletop also, so that I can make him to press that. Like, I'm not able to understand the any other activity where we can make him understand that appropriate pressure.
Okay. Mrs. Madhvi has given a very good example. She's telling, give him to press used sauce bottles. So probably anything that is squishy is something that you can help him use as a practice for, doing this appropriate pressure that you're talking about. There are many other pouches that we get, which has a little mouth open and you have a rolling tap on it, like a sauce, that plastic container that comes in. Not the container, it's called a pouch only. You could also use that for him to understand the pressure. But again, the goal is very important over here. If you want the child to learn the skill of brushing and do the brushing independently, I would not have you focus on the skill of using the toothpaste with the pressure. But choose another alternative for him to just pick up the paste and apply. That could be one of it. So you're just like rubbing a part of a paste and applying it on the brush and then brushing it. It should be okay. So the goal is very important. Why do we want him to learn the thing? Is it because we want him to learn the skill of pressing, or is it for brushing? That also is something that you should think about and then make modifications. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, our pleasure. The next question we have, Ms. Kritika, is how positive reinforcement or any other strategy be instrumental in tackling a very serious loop of self-talking behavior, mostly gibberish. His communication and compliance to instructions are all getting seriously impacted by the extreme intense self-talking behavior. What strategy will work to redirect his motivation and compliance?
Okay, so when we say there is a lot of self-talking behavior, so we need to also understand that is this behavior something which is appropriate to the situation, or is it something which is inappropriate for his task while he's doing it? So when there is some repetitive behavior, we can also use something as token rewards. So when the child is talking repetitively, you can keep that a child in an hour, maybe he can repeat whatever he's saying 3 times or 5 times. So you can make a chart of token reward system where he once he speaks and once he keeps repeating your one, each token is removed for you to get a reward at the end which is desirable for him. He gets something which he likes. So when he skip talking, your reward is not going to be given to you. So like a token reward system may be helpful for this child when he's repeating, and it can also say that when there is you're not abiding by the number of times you say, you keep repeating yourself, at the end there is no reward which you're going to receive. So something like this may also help your child to lower down the intensity of repeating himself and affecting him in his daily activity during an activity. Oh,
Can I
Thank you,
add
Ms.
on to this?
Kritika.
Can I add on to
Yes,
this?
please. Please
Yeah,
go
we
ahead.
can do something called quiet time. Like, say, 1 minute, if the child is quiet, you reinforce him. The other way, opposite of what you said, Kritika ma'am, this is what we can do. 1 minute quiet time, so reinforce him. Increase the time slowly. So that means we are making the child to be quiet. Like, he has to be quiet and you are reinforcing him. So that behavior. Then slowly, the child understands. Like, if I am going to be quiet, I am going to get the reinforcement whatever I like it, that we can do. So make the child understand. That is also like, say, it is not making him to sit quietly. You say, this is the time, like put the timer on. He has to see something moving also. Sand timer or the timer in the mobile saying this much time, 30 seconds, you are going to be quiet. Reinforce. Then increase the time. Slowly make the child understand he has to be quiet.
That's really great. And thank you so much, Madhavi ma'am, for adding in. That's a very effective point and a strategy to use. Thank you so much.
So that's great. I think it's very interesting to explore. Also, there are multiple strategies to work with. So this quiet time and giving that understanding that this is the time where you have to focus, you will have to work, and you will be rewarded for that is a great one. You can always gradually increase, like Mrs. Madhvi shared, while you can also reinforce the time when the child needs it. Maybe this is like a self-regulation. So from what Miss Kritika is saying, maybe the child needs to self-regulate himself by talking to himself, give that affirmation for himself that, okay, this is what I'm doing and it is okay. It is one of the sensorial needs that he may have. So again, you'll have to pick on what is the scenario like, why is the child doing, and then help the child. So it's going to be a mix of both the strategies shared by Mrs. Madhvi and Miss Kritika. And of course, you will yourself with the experience realize what is working, what is not working. Thank you so much for your contribution. I really love how you all are sharing your experiences and making this a very interesting conversation. Moving on, Anika is a parent who's asking. She's saying, "Hello, ma'am. My daughter is 17 years old. She is non-verbal autistic child who follows nearly all commands, but she does not wait. Like if I'm busy in some work, if she wants her hair to be combed, and if I say her to wait, she gets hyper. That's shouting, gets anxious, means she wants her work to be done at the same time in the same moment. How can I make her understand to wait for her turn? Thanks."
Okay, that's a nice question. And yes, children usually face difficulties for taking turns, waiting for their turn. So we can make them understand by also giving them like a visual support that first you're going to need to wait and mom has a work and then I'll be addressing you. So you need to like, when you're doing some work, you need to explain the child that first I'll finish and then come to you. So this can be done on a regular basis where the child is understanding that yes, mama is at work and I need to wait. So when you're doing an activity, maybe you can ask her to come and look at you doing something and ask her that once I finish my work, I can come and do it. My hands are busy. Something like that, where you are, visually representing to the child that I am in a task, and then after I finish, once I'm free, I'm coming to you and I'm going to help you out with it. Is there something
hope
you'd
that
like to add,
fine.
Riddhi?
Sure, I think this is a great strategy. I also feel that this child is 17-year-old. So teaching the skill of waiting is very important. Sharing logic, like what Miss Kritika said, that why does she need to wait? It is very interesting that I see what Mrs. Vinamrata has written. This is something again which I had addressed in my positive parenting workshop, which is having the child to teach having meaningful conversations like grounding, seeing any 5 things in the surrounding and then explaining them. So the child is finding very difficult to wait. So what should she do for that waiting time? Engaging her productively, channelizing, and not having that anxiety build in while she's waiting. So probably you can use a skill of, hey, have your home hair combed? That's so great. So you're giving her that positive reinforcement. And then maybe you can say, can you quickly help me finish this chore? We both will finish this together and then I can help you, comb your hair. So what are you doing? You're trying to redirect the child's attention, telling her that I need to finish this first, like what Ms. Ritika said, and then I can get onto this task. I would suggest proactively teach her the skill of waiting. So maybe you could do a skill where there is like a timer and she needs, so in a microwave oven, you could ask her to warm something and tell her that you're going to warm it for 2 minutes and let her wait. When she's waiting, maybe you could do the grounding activity that a parent has suggested. So teaching her the skill of waiting is very important. Once she's learned that skill, applying it in the places. So you would yourself know that these are the episodes where she has a meltdown. She finds it very difficult. She's being anxious. So then you can help her have that anxiety, or, address those anxieties and have her wait for that time. I would also suggest start slow. So say, for example, if that she's going to have anxieties, she's going to find it difficult to wait. You would not have her wait for 3 long minutes. You may want to finish off your task in 1 minute, get back to it again, and let her only wait for 1 minute. Then gradually increase to 2, then 3. Then maybe just be consistent at 3 minutes because she needs to understand that 3 is this long. And then maybe teach her to wait for longer time. So again, just like I said for the previous one, multiple strategies is something that will work for you. I hope I've answered your question.
And one more thing, we need to practice it every day. This waiting strategy has to be practiced every day so that the child understands. Child has to wait till mom says. Like if you say 1 minute or 2 minutes, show something the timer and make it a
Correct.
practice. Like how you teach this is cat, this is rat. Even waiting has to be taught. That as parents, many of them they forget. But here, what is important is that waiting has to be taught every day. For any other thing, it is not only for combing.
Thank you
So
so
over
much.
a period of time, what happens is the child gets practice and then will understand. Waiting means I have to wait.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We have Dr. Kanchi over. Dr. Kanchi, do you want to add anything for this?
I think I think you have covered all the aspects. I just, are you done with your question?
Yes, please go ahead sharing.
Okay. So no, there was just another question which I think was missed. So there's a parent, Gravita Jha, and her question was, he's doing repetitive behavior, obsessive for perfection in every activity, and also have over tactile sensory issues. So, would anyone of you, either of you, like to address it?
No, Dr. Kanchi, we would love to hear you out while you come with your expertise. It will be a great learning opportunity for us. So please address this question.
Okay, so if you are here, Ms. Gravita, Gravit Jha, sorry, Mr. Gravit, can you
Garvit
please?
Jha, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, he is my son, 12 years
okay.
son.
So, can you
तो
please tell
इसको
us
मैम
what? Yeah, please go ahead.
ओके मैम ये ना बिहेवियर है इसका। कोई भी चीज ग्लास पकड़ना है, प्लेट रखना है, सोफा कहीं भी बैठेगा सोफा सेट करना है उसको, कुशन सेट करना है, स्लीपर सेट करनी है, मतलब डेली एक्टिविटी जो होती है मॉर्निंग टू नाइट सब में, तो बहुत टाइम उसमें उसका चला जाता है। तो और उसको हम लोग मना करते हैं तो वो इरिटेट हो जाता है। तो एक तो ये प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, प्लस 1-2 मंथ से मतलब विंटर से के बाद खत्म हुई, समर स्टार्ट हो गई, उसके बाद इसको टैक्टाइल थोड़ा सेकिंग हो रहा है। इसको थोड़े पानी के छींटे पड़ जाए तो उसको बहुत इरिटेशन होती है। मैं थोड़ा टच करके ऐसे पकड़ लेती हूँ तो इसको प्रॉब्लम होती है। प्लस ये जब हैंड वॉश करता है तो अपने टॉवल से बहुत देर तक रब करके पोंछता रहता है, मतलब थोड़ा सा भी वाटर नहीं ले रहना चाहिए। ये चीज इशू आ रहा है।
Okay.
और
So,
जी मैम,
okay. बोलिए बोलिए।
बस ये परफेक्शन का है, इरिटेट बहुत हो रहे हैं, बिहेवियर अभी बहुत ज्यादा दिख रहे हैं इनके। और मैम राइटिंग का ये है कि पहले बहुत 2-3 पेजेस अच्छे से राइटिंग कर लेता था, मना नहीं करता था, अब राइटिंग नहीं करना चाहता, राइटिंग भी अब इसकी बहुत खराब हो गई है। उसको भी परफेक्ट करता रहता है, जैसे कोई भी अल्फाबेट नंबर्स बनाएगा उसको बार बार रिपीट 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 लिखते रहेगा, तो उससे इसकी राइटिंग उसमें बहुत टाइम लगता है एक लाइन लिखाने में भी। तो ये भी इरिटेट होता है और मुझे भी, फिर मैं कहती हूँ जल्दी करो जल्दी। इसकी मैं टाइमर भी सेट करके रखती हूँ, उसका भी कोई रिजल्ट नहीं आ रहा।
ओके, तो जो पहला वाला क्वेश्चन था रिपीटेटिव बिहेवियर का, तो अगर
जी
वो
जी
कोई भी चीज परफेक्शन से करना चाह रहा है और अगर वो चीज उसके डेली लाइफ को इंटरफेयर नहीं कर रही है, जैसे थोड़ा बहुत टाइम मैनेजमेंट का प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है या उसके अलावा अगर कोई और इशू नहीं हो रहा है, जैसे वो कहीं जा ही नहीं पा रहा है या किसी एक ही एक्टिविटी में 1 घंटे तक अटका हुआ है, तो यू कैन लेट इट गो कि ठीक है, इट टेक्स हिम 5 minutes because that is a personality thing. It takes him 5 minutes to do one thing, that is fine. So repetitive, this is not repetitive behavior, this is some kind of a perfectionist behavior, and it generally जब अंडरस्टैंडिंग बढ़ती है, जब चीजें टास्क बढ़ते हैं हमारे, तो इट कम्स डाउन। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, फर्स्ट वन इज कि यू डोंट हैव टू फिक्सेट ऑन इट, और जैसा आपने बोला कि आप ना बोलते हो या उसको डांटते हो उस चीज के लिए, तो वो और ज्यादा इरिटेट हो जाता है। बिकॉज हमारे
जी
साथ
जी
भी ये चीज होती है कि हम अगर कुछ कर रहे हैं और हमें रिपीटेडली किसी चीज के लिए डांटा जाए या कंटिन्यूअसली कोई बोलता रहे कि ये नहीं करो, ये मत करो, ये मत करो, ये मत करो, तो वी ऑल्सो टेंड टू गेट इरिटेटेड कि व्हाई आर यू
जी
सेइंग दिस कंटिन्यूअसली, एंड इट्स नॉट लाइक कि वो जबरदस्ती कर रहा है। He has to do things in a routine, in a perfect manner. तो दैट्स हिज पर्सनैलिटी थिंग। सो थोड़ा सा आप उसको उसके लिए कंटिन्यूएशन में टोकना छोड़ सकते हो, थोड़ा सा लेट इट गो, लेट हिम डू दैट अनटिल और अनलेस वो चीज उसको बहुत ज्यादा उसकी डेली लाइफ में इफेक्ट कर रही है या रूटीन में इफेक्ट कर रही है, तब तक द बिहेवियर थिंग इतना आई डोंट थिंक बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लमेटिक है।
ओके
रिद्धि और प्रतिका, वुड यू लाइक टू ऐड
मैम,
समथिंग?
बस कहीं कहीं यहाँ प्रॉब्लम आ जाती है, जैसे स्कूल जा रहे हैं उस टाइम मैंने ब्रेकफास्ट करना है, तो ये अपनी प्लेट को सेट कर रहे हैं, प्लस फिर धीमे 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 एक एक स्पून से फिर खाएंगे, तो मैम उसमें थोड़ा टाइम हो जाता है, कहीं हम लोग को जाना होता है ना,
आई
डिले हो जाता
अंडरस्टैंड।
है।
तो उसके लिए आप
तो
एक
वो
चीज
उस चीज
कर
को
सकते हो। यस, जो सुबह का रूटीन होता है वो बहुत जल्दी जल्दी का होता है और उसमें धीरे धीरे अगर बच्चा काम
जी
कर
जी
रहा
जी
है, तो आप एक तो ये चीज कर सकते हो, उसको थोड़ा सा टाइम के पहले उठाना शुरू करो। लाइक जितने बजे आप उठा रहे हो और वो उसकी वजह से लेट हो रहा है, तो थोड़ा सा और पहले उठाना शुरू करो कि आपको पता है कि इसको टाइम लगेगा, तो धीरे धीरे अपना करता रहेगा। जब तक आप ब्रेकफास्ट प्रिपेयर करोगे तब तक टाइम मैनेजमेंट वैसे आप कर सकते हो। एक तो आप वो चीज कर सकते हो उसमें,
जी
क्योंकि अगर सिर्फ सुबह ही प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, तो क्योंकि जो बिहेवियर वाली चीज आप बोल रहे हो, वो अगर हम उसको कंटिन्यूअसली टोकते रहेंगे तो वो बिहेवियर जाएगा नहीं, बट वो आपसे इरिटेट होता जाएगा और वो एक पॉइंट के बाद ही विल लर्न टू कट ऑफ कि ठीक है, अभी
जी
ये बोलने तो मेरे को नहीं सुनना है, दैट माइट हैपन, दैट
ये हो गया, ये हो गया है, अब वो
इसीलिए
नहीं
आप उसको
सुनता है।
टोकना बंद कर दो उन चीजों के लिए। लेट हिम डू इट
ओके।
द वे ही वांट्स टू डू इट, लेट हिम फॉलो हिज रूटीन। बिकॉज कई बार जब हम एंग्शियस होते हैं या हमको एक पर्टिकुलर रूटीन पसंद होता है या हमें रूटीन में चलना पसंद होता है, तो हमको कोई उसमें टोके तो हम बहुत ज्यादा एंग्शियस हो जाते हैं, तो वो बहुत चैलेंजिंग चीज हो जाती है और उससे फिर दूसरे बिहेवियर्स और आते हैं। ऑलराइट,
जी जी जी।
Riddhi, would you like to add something to this, or Pratika?
Yes. Dr. Kanchi, thank you so much for your answer. I think आपने पूरा cover कर दिया है. Thank you so much. Just one thing, जब ये बच्चा करता है in terms of behavior, it is very important for the child to know the logical consequence. यानी आपको realistically उसको समझाना पड़ेगा कि अगर आप इतना टाइम सुबह के टाइम पे लोगे तो आपका बस मिस हो जाएगा, स्कूल मिस हो जाएगा, make a choice. So वो लॉजिकल कॉन्सिक्वेंस भी उसको
मैम ये
समझ
मैं उसको पिक्चर के थ्रू मैं दिखा चुकी हूँ, देखो लेट हो जाओगे तो बस छोड़ के चली जाएगी, पापा भी छोड़ के चले जाएंगे, वो उनको ऑफिस को लेट हो जाएगा। लेकिन मैम वो जो उसको करना है वो वही करता है, वो नहीं सुनता उस टाइम
करेक्ट
बिल्कुल भी, उसकी जैसी उसकी
करेक्ट।
स्पीड
तो
है उसी स्पीड से करे।
हाँ, क्योंकि वो डिफिकल्ट होती है इंक्रीज करने के लिए स्पीड। और सेकेंडली जैसे डॉक्टर कांची ने सजेस्ट किया कि तुम थोड़ा दिन उसके लिए जल्दी स्टार्ट कर दो तो उसको वो थोड़ा
जी
टाइम एक्स्ट्रा मिलेगा। प्लस
जी
कभी
जी
कभार एक दो बार अगर उसका स्कूल मिस हुआ, पापा चले गए, तो इट शुड बी
जी
ओके। सो रैदर देन सीइंग, फॉर हिम टू एक्सपीरियंस दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो वो खुद
ओके
उसको
मैम,
वो वॉइड मिलेगा,
रियलाइज
उसको
होना।
खुद को वो लॉस समझ में आएगा कि अरे मैंने इतना सारा टाइम लगाया इसमें तो मेरा वो हुआ। तो अगर जब तो उसको वो ज्यादा अच्छी तरीके से समझेगा। तो आप जब भी ये आपको समझ उसको ये एक्सपीरियंस आएगा, फिर आप उसको रिफ्लेक्शन में, जिस तरीके से मैंने मेरे बिहेवियर वर्कशॉप में बोला था कि यू कैन रिफ्लेक्ट विद द चाइल्ड लेटर कि देखो आज तुमने इतना टाइम इसमें लगाया ना, इसके लिए आपका ये मिस हुआ है, हाउ कैन वी डू दिस बेटर। अगर वो एक
हम्म
मिनट भी थोड़ा जल्दी कर रहा है तो आप उसको पॉजिटिव रीइंफोर्स करो कि वाओ आपने बहुत फास्ट कर लिया, तो उसको समझ में आएगा
ओके
कि अच्छा ये एक्सपेक्टेशन है, मैं मुझे थोड़ा फास्ट करना है। सो जस्ट लाइक व्हाट
ओके
डॉक्टर कांची सेड, उसको आप नैगिंग करोगे, नेगेटिवली बोलते रहोगे कि मत करो मत करो मत करो, वो सुनेगा नहीं
जी
क्योंकि उसको नहीं सुनना है वो चीज, राइट। सो
जी
रैदर
जी जी
तो वो उसका रिजल्ट दिखाओ कि भाई तुम इतना टाइम लगाओगे तो तुम्हारी ये चीज मिस होगी, और एक आध दो दिन मिस होने दीजिए तो उसको समझ में आएगा
ओके
कि अच्छा इसका मतलब ये होता है। और फिर जब भी वो ट्राई करता है कुछ फास्ट करने के लिए, भले वो एक ही मिनट का फर्क हुआ रहेगा, थोड़ा ही फास्ट किया रहेगा, तो आप उसको पॉजिटिव रीइंफोर्स करेंगे तो उसको वो अच्छा लगेगा सुनने के लिए, क्योंकि हर एक बच्चे को वापस सक्सीड चाहिए, उनको परफॉर्म करना है। सो इट इज वेरी
जी
इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप उसको परफॉर्म करवाओ। Yes,
जी ओके
Mr.
मैम
Kritika,
जी।
do you want to add anything to this?
No, I think both of you all have covered most of it, and I'd like to thank both of you for addressing this question.
Sure, sure. Our pleasure. Moving on, Mr. Vipin has a question. He's saying, my son,
मैम
12
एक
years
1
old.
मिनट मैम, सॉरी फॉर डिस्टर्ब मैम, ये वो टेक्टाइल
No
वाला
problem.
सीकिंग का बता दीजिए, उसमें क्या
Yes.
करना
Yes,
होगा मुझे।
sure, sure.
Go ahead, Riddhi, go ahead.
Go for it, Dr. Kanchi.
ओके सो बेसिकली आपने बोला कि टेक्टाइल इश्यूज बढ़ गए हैं जब से गर्मी आई है और उसको पानी पसंद नहीं आ रहा है या कोई भी पानी से रिलेटेड चीज हो रही है तो वो पसंद नहीं आ रही है, राइट।
जी, और मैम उसको मैं अगर पकड़ती हूँ ना, टच करती हूँ, तो उसे वो भी पसंद नहीं आ रहा।
उसको सारा टच अवॉइड कर रहा है, वो सारा टेक्टाइल इनपुट
जी
अवॉइड कर रहा है। ओके तो
जी जी
उसके अगर सिर्फ गर्मियों में हो रहा है तो उसका एक रीजन ये भी हो सकता है कि गर्मी में हमको पसीना बहुत आता है, उससे इरिटेशन बहुत होता है बॉडी में। तो यू
जी मैम,
मेक
वो
श्योर।
अपने अपने कपड़ों भी एडजस्ट करता रहता है बार बार, अपने
हाँ
शॉर्ट्स
तो
को,
वो
टी
इट
शर्ट को,
मे बी
हैंड।
बिकॉज ऑफ गर्मी, नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ टेक्टाइल पर्टिकुलरली, कि क्योंकि गर्मी में अगर हमें भी कोई बहुत ज्यादा टच करे या हाथ लगाए तो हम भी इरिटेट हो जाते हैं कि गर्मी हो रही है मत छुओ, तो दैट ऑल्सो
अच्छा
हैपेंस। सो इट
मैम, ये
मे बी।
फर्स्ट टाइम हुआ है उसको, ये कभी देखा नहीं इतने सीजन्स में, फर्स्ट टाइम ये एक्सपीरियंस कर रही हूँ उसके साथ,
हाँ
इसीलिए।
हाँ, तो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग कि आप जैसे बोल रहे हो कि वो अपने कपड़े भी बार बार एडजस्ट करता रहता है, तो इट माइट नॉट बी बिकॉज ऑफ टेक्टाइल इशू, इट माइट बी बिकॉज ऑफ ओनली द वेदर। तो आप थोड़ा सा ट्राई करो कि उसको ठंडे में रखो, उसको इतना ज्यादा स्वेटिंग ना हो, उसको बहुत ज्यादा ऑलरेडी उसको बहुत ज्यादा टेक्टाइल इनपुट मिल रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ द स्वेटिंग एंड द वेदर एंड एवरीथिंग। तो वो ओवर
ओके
हो रहा है वो टेक्टाइल इनपुट उसके लिए। तो थोड़ा सा ट्राई करो कि आसपास आपके घर का जो एनवायरमेंट है वो कूल रखो। You try it for a week or so, or if it doesn't help, let us know. We will address it properly. Like, because right now, all I can see is it is happening because of the weather. अगर सिर्फ मौसम चेंज होने की वजह से ये चीज होती है तो फिर it happens.
ओके मैम।
Okay?
ओके ओके मैम। वो कपड़े जीन्स वगैरह भी पहनना नहीं चाह रहा मैम, तो वो भी
हाँ
यही रीजन हो?
यस, गर्मी से ही होता है वो
ओके
जनरली बच्चों के साथ क्या होता है, अगर बच्चा नहीं कम्युनिकेट कर पा रहा है थ्रू लैंग्वेज और एनीथिंग, तो वो बिहेवियर्स में शो करता है, वो जेस्चर्स के थ्रू शो कर देता है कि मेरे को ये नहीं करना है। तो वो नहीं बोल पा रहा है कि मुझे जीन्स नहीं पहननी है या मुझे बहुत ज्यादा गर्मी हो रही है, स्वेटिंग हो रही है, मत हाथ लगाओ। दैट्स व्हाई द बिहेवियर इज हैपनिंग। द टेक्टाइल, इट मे लुक लाइक a tactile issue, but it might be just because of the weather.
ओके मैम। ओके मैम, थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू वेरी
Okay,
मच।
no problem.
I just had a question for you, Mrs. Jha. आप कहाँ पे रहते हो? Like, where are you from?
मैं कानपुर।
कानपुर। ओके, तो फिलहाल अभी एक्चुअली ना गर्मी बहुत है, सो इट्स नॉट ओनली योर
बहुत
सन, आई थिंक हम सब, अगर आप देखने जाओ तो फर्स्ट टाइम इतनी सारी गर्मी है, सो शायद
जी
उसकी वजह से हो रहा है, एंड इट इज वेरी नॉर्मल। सो लेट्स वेट फॉर वेदर चेंजेस एंड होपफुली ये बिहेवियर नहीं आएगा, और बाय चांस आपको लगता है कि अभी भी आ रहा है, सो प्लीज फील फ्री टू
जी।
मैसेज अस, कॉल अस, वी विल बी एबल टू गाइड यू विद इट। ओके
ओके ओके मैम। ओके मैम, थैंक
ओके। Moving on, we have one more last question, Ms. Ritika. This is by Mr. Vipin. He says, my son is 12-year-old mild spectrum. His repetitive behavior increased a lot. He filled water bottles in houses, cold bottles out from fridge, and other filled bottles put into the fridge. He speaks a lot wherever he sees, in past, listens in past dialogues of movies, etc. Speaking to all, even to strangers. Please suggest how to manage the behavior. Due to this, all he is unable to focus on studies, music, class, games, etc.
So Riddhi, you can go ahead. I'll add in some inputs if I have.
Sure. So, Mr. Vipin, I think we've spoken about it. आपने ये क्वेश्चन शायद वो म्यूजिक के लिए भी ऐसा हो रहा था कि वो काफी टाइम गाना गाते रहता है. So again, इसका रीजन क्या होता है? Yes, Mr.
मैम एक्चुअली मेन बिहेवियर उसका भी क्या है कि वाटर बॉटल्स वो काफी टाइम से फिल कर रहा है, लगभग अप्रोक्स 3 इयर्स हो गए। बट पहले था कि रूटीन में मॉर्निंग में 2-3 बॉटल फिल कर ली, फिर नून में 2 बॉटल फिल कर ली, फिर रात में 2-3 बॉटल फिल कर ली। बट अब क्या हो गया प्रेजेंटली कि उसको ये है कि अगर बॉटल रूम में बेडरूम में रखी है, बॉटल फिल्ड भी है, उसको उठाएगा, वापस खाली करेगा, ठीक है, देन अगेन फिल करेगा उसको, फ्रिज से कोल्ड बॉटल्स निकाल के आउटसाइड रखेगा, फ्रेश बॉटल फिल करके वापस फ्रिज में रखेगा। इवन इवन एट द मॉर्निंग टाइम, द स्कूल टाइम, जैसे लास्ट क्वेश्चन मैम ने बोला कि स्कूल के लिए लेट हो रहे हैं, ही स्टार्टेड नहीं, उसको पहले बॉटल्स फिल करके रखनी है वापस, देन वो स्कूल जाएगा। और जो आपने एक सजेशन दिया था कि उसका स्कूल मिस करा दो, मैंने 1-2 बार ट्राई किया वो, बट एट दैट टाइम वो बहुत ज्यादा मतलब इरिटेट हो जाता है बहुत, ही स्टार्टेड टू क्राइंग कि नहीं मैं स्कूल, ही नोज कि उसको स्कूल जाना है, बट उसको वाटर बॉटल भी फिल करनी है।
Correct.
सेकंड,
So it's getting a tough choice. Yeah.
सेकंड वो काफी ज्यादा मतलब स्पीकिंग बहुत ज्यादा है, ऑलवेज मॉर्निंग टू नाइट, सिंस द मॉर्निंग टू नाइट, जो भी उसका पास्ट में हुआ है, कोई उसको कभी कहीं मिला, कहीं हम गए किसी रिलेटिव के यहाँ, वहां पे किसी ने कोई बात बोली, वो सब उसके माइंड में चलता रहता है। तो देन किसी दिन कोई बात को, किसी दिन कोई बात को, ही रिपीटेटिवली वो बोलता रहेगा, सुनाता रहेगा, हमें बोलेगा, मूवीज के डायलॉग बोलेगा। इवन कभी पार्क में जाता है, क्लास में, इवन क्लास में जो क्लासरूम के उसके स्टूडेंट्स हैं साथ के, अपनी सीट छोड़ के उनके पास चला जाएगा, उनको मूवीज के डायलॉग्स बोलेगा। तो वो आजकल क्लास में भी काफी प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, उसकी टीचर ने बोला था। तो आई एम अनेबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हाउ टू मैनेज दिस बिहेवियर।
Correct. So there are two things that we are going to address over here regarding the water bottles. That's a very someone has shared over here. I think Mrs. Vinamrata is saying remove all the bottles. Is that possible? कुछ possibility हो सकता है कि हम bottles निकाल दे? I'm just thinking वो practically by chance बाहर जाना रहेगा तो फिर किस तरीके से कर सकेंगे? Mrs. Vinamrata, can you unmute yourself? Share, because I think it's a good idea, but I'm just thinking about the practicality.
Yeah, ma'am,
Ma'am,
I think we can, like, we are talking about various accommodations. Like, he is stuck
Yes.
for the bottles. Yeah. So we can use something else instead of keeping the bottles, or for some time at least we can remove some bottles and we can just observe.
Yeah, it's a actually very good suggestion, Mr. Vineet. आपको क्या लगता है? Is it possible?
मैम समटाइम्स मैंने बॉटल्स रिमूव कर दी, बट इवन ए सिंगल बॉटल मिसिंग है. इफ ए सिंगल बॉटल मिसिंग, ही स्टार्टेड टू क्राइंग. वंस इन ए व्हाइल ऐसा हुआ कि मैं बॉटल अपने ऑफिस लेके गया. आई फॉरगॉट बॉटल इन द ऑफिस. ही सेड, पापा बॉटल नहीं लेके आए वापस. मैं कहा, बेटा आज मैं भूल गया. नेक्स्ट डे मैं बॉटल फिर नहीं लेके आया. पापा आप आज भी बॉटल नहीं लेके आए. भाई आप बॉटल क्यों नहीं लेके आए? आपको बॉटल भूलनी नहीं थी, आप क्यों बॉटल भूल गए? आप अभी ऑफिस जाओ, बॉटल वापस लेके आओ.
Yeah, I think it's the fixation of a behavior that has happened. He's got fixated to that. So now, again, I think, there are multiple things that you'll have to do. Firstly, you'll have to pre-program him कि you can only fill 3 bottles a day. तो आपको उसको बोलना पड़ेगा आपको सिर्फ 3 ही बॉटल भरना है और एक ही बार वो 3 बॉटल भरोगे. So you can choose. आपको ये भर लिया, फ्रिज में डाल दिया, फिनिश, ओवर, वन टाइम ओवर. और ये विजुअली आप दिखा सकते हो. सेकेंड टाइम बॉटल भरा, फ्रिज में डाला, फिनिश. सेकेंड टाइम ओवर, थर्ड फिनिश, थर्ड टाइम ओवर. तो अगर जब भी आप ये करोगे, जब भी वो 4th या 5th टाइम जब भी करेगा, तब आप उसको फॉर्मली नो बोलोगे कि नहीं, आपको नहीं करना है ऐसे. सो ऑफ कोर्स उसके काफी सारे मेल्टडाउन्स हो गए, वो रोएगा, वो बोलेगा, जिद करेगा, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. तो आप उसको बोलोगे, आई एम सो सॉरी, अपना बात हुआ था, हम 3 ही बार करेंगे. तो अप्रोक्सीमेटली अभी ये 3 मैंने एज अ रैंडम नंबर दिया है, लेकिन आप देखोगे खुद कि वो कितनी बार अभी तक कर रहा है. अगर वो 6 बार कर रहा है या 10 बार कर रहा है, तो 10 का मैं 3 सडनली नहीं कर सकता हूँ. मुझे ग्रेजुअली या स्लोली उसको डिक्रीज करवाना है. वो कैसे होता है ना, एक एक मिनट बाई चांस बढ़ती है तो अपने को समझ में नहीं आता है, राइट. तो उसको वो डिफरेंस समझ में नहीं आना चाहिए कि ये कम हो रहा है मेरा. सो यू स्टार्ट ऑफ विथ लेसर नंबर ऑफ बॉटल्स. तो आप उसको बोलोगे, आप उसको चॉइस दोगे कि आपको फिल करना है बॉटल, ठीक है, यू वांट टू डू दैट, ग्रेट. अगर वो 10 बार बॉटल फिल कर रहा है तो आप 10 का उसको 7 कर दो. तो टेल हिम 7 बॉटल्स, चूज करो कौन सा 7 बॉटल चाहिए. आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जांपल, आपको आपके हिसाब से देखना पड़ेगा. फिर वो चूज करेगा 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. आप उसको बोलोगे ग्रेट, 7 बॉटल्स. उसको थोड़ा ऑर्गेनाइज भी आप कर सकते हो. तो मे बी आप यू कैन सेट एन अलार्म और समथिंग अराउंड द डे कि नाउ इट इज टाइम फॉर यू, जाओ फिल करके दे दो और बॉटल डाल दो. तो उसका चैनलाइज कर रहे हो आप, जो उसका पैटर्न है या जो फिक्सेशन हो गया उसको आप चैनलाइज कर रहे हो. एक बार उसको चैनलाइज कर दोगे, वो स्ट्रक्चर दे दोगे, तो फिर उसके बाद वो बाउंड्री लाना बहुत इजी हो जाएगा. तो आपने 10 का 7, 7 का 5, 5 का 3, 3 का 2, एंड देन इन अ डे लेट हिम डू ओनली वंस. करना बहुत जरूरी है, वो फिक्सेशन है उसके लिए. तो इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मूव हिम ऑफ इट, बट आप उस तरीके से कर सकते हो. तो दैट्स वन आइडिया. सेकेंड वन इज, उसको आप रीडायरेक्ट करिए इन अ वे दैट ही बिकम्स बिजी विद सम अदर एक्टिविटीज. तो आप उसको बिजी करवाइए. मे बी यू कुड हैव हिम डू समथिंग दैट ही लाइक्स. मे बी कीप हिम आउट ऑफ द हाउस एट मल्टीपल इंटरवल्स ऑफ द टाइम. तो सुबह स्कूल जाके आया, फिर जाओ खेलो नीचे, फिर घर पे आके कोई और क्लासेस कुछ एंगेज करवाओ आप उसको. सो डाइवर्शन कर दोगे तो उसका वो जो फिक्सेशन हो गया है कि घर पे मुझे बैठ के सिर्फ बॉटल्स फिल करना है, वो कम हो जाएगा. आप रिवॉर्ड्स दे सकते हो. तो से फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे कृतिका मैम बोल रहे थे कि रिवॉर्ड स्ट्रैटेजी आप यूज कर सकते हो. तो से फॉर एग्जांपल उसने सिर्फ 3 ही बॉटल भरा, तो गुड जॉब, आपने रिड्यूस किया है. सो फॉर 3 बॉटल्स यू गेट टू डू एन एक्टिविटी ऑफ योर चॉइस. तो उस तरीके से भी आप कम कर सकते हो. तो दीज आर मल्टीपल थिंग्स दैट यू कुड डू. रिगार्डिंग द सेकंड क्वेश्चन कि फॉर एग्जांपल एक बार आपने उसका स्कूल मिस करवाया और वो बहुत रो रहा था, so that time you can say I'm so sorry. So you have to be super empathetic to him. उसको समझना जरूरी है कि पापा को अच्छा नहीं लगा कि मैंने स्कूल मिस किया, मम्मा को अच्छा नहीं लगा कि मैंने स्कूल मिस किया, लेकिन उनको वो भी समझाना जरूरी है कि आपने स्कूल मिस किया क्योंकि आप बॉटल भरने में बिजी थे। आई एम सो सॉरी, कल इतनी सारी बॉटल नहीं भरोगे तो आप टाइम पे स्कूल में पहुंच जाओगे। तो उसको वो बिहेवियर कॉन्सिक्वेंस समझाना बहुत जरूरी है। तो वो आप उसी तरीके से बता सकते हो बार बार कि भाई सॉरी, तुमने बॉटल भरे इसके लिए आप लेट हो गए हो और इसके लिए आपका स्कूल मिस हुआ है। शायद आपको विजुअल यूज करना पड़ेगा उसके लिए। रिगार्डिंग द डायलॉग्स दैट ही इज सेइंग, द पास्ट इवेंट्स जो वो नरेट कर रहे हैं, अगेन ही इज डूइंग इट फॉर हिमसेल्फ। उसको वो स्टिम्युलेशन चाहिए, उसके दिमाग में इतना सारा चल रहा है इसके लिए वो बोल रहा है। सो आई हैड टोल्ड यू लास्ट टाइम, डिड यू ट्राई दैट स्ट्रैटेजी जो मैंने आपको लास्ट टाइम बताया था कि स्पीकिंग टाइम ओवर, फिनिश एंड देन फोकस? इज इट वर्किंग?
नो मैम, नॉट वर्किंग। वो फॉर ए मिनट,
ओके,
फॉर ए
आपने
मिनट
किस
वो
तरीके
ही
से उसको ट्राई
when he is focusing on study and he started to repeat the dialogue, I give just 1 minute. ठीक है, you have a 1 minute to speak. ठीक है, then अब आपको बंद कर देना है। ठीक है, now you have to start for focus on your study. So for a 5 minutes it works. Then after 5 minutes he again started to speak.
करेक्ट? तो जब भी आप 1 मिनट बोलते हो, आप उसको 1 मिनट विजुअली दिखाते हो?
नहीं, 1 minute विजुअली नहीं दिखाया है।
करेक्ट, तो उसके लिए काफी
मतलब उसको
एब्स्ट्रैक्ट हो जाता है।
ओके।
तो शायद अगर आप वो 1 मिनट नहीं दिखा रहे तो भी ठीक है। तो व्हाट यू कैन डू इज, आप मोबाइल पे ही 1 मिनट टाइमर करके यूट्यूब पे लिखोगे तो आपको पूरा वो 1 मिनट दिखेगा। तो उसको दिखेगा कि
ओके।
अच्छा ये पूरा सर्कल खत्म हुआ तो खत्म, तो मैं ये सर्कल तक बोल पाऊंगा। तो उसको समझ में आएगा अच्छा 35 सेकंड्स, 40 सेकंड्स अभी इतना ही बाकी है, इतने में मुझे खत्म करना है। फिर वो स्टॉप हो गया। ये जो स्टॉप हुआ है ना, उसमें भी आप टाइमर डालो। फिर आप 5 मिनट्स के लिए अगर एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो कि वो ना बोले, तो पुट अ 5 मिनट टाइमर। सो से फॉर एग्जाम्पल 1 2 3 मिनट खत्म हुआ, कुछ कुछ बोल रहा है, कुछ गा रहा है, तो आप बोलेगे सॉरी, क्वाइट टाइम, फोकस, देखो इतना टाइम बाकी है तुम्हारा, नहीं तो मैं वापस ऊपर से स्टार्ट करूंगा। तो उसको समझ में आएगा कि ये बढ़ रहा है मेरा टाइम। सो उसको वापस स्टार्ट करूंगा। आपको वो दिखाना पड़ेगा कि अरे मुझे इतना सारा वापस टाइम स्पेंड करना पड़ेगा, बोलना नहीं है उसके लिए। आपको समझ में आया मैंने क्या बताया?
यस, मैं समझ रहा हूँ मैम।
करेक्ट। सो
विजुअलाइज
फर्स्ट 1 मिनट,
कराना है।
यस, फर्स्ट 1 मिनट का टाइमर बोलने के लिए। तो वो विजुअलाइज उसने किया कि मुझे इसमें बोलना है, बोलना है, बोलना है, बोलना है, बोलना है। अब देखोगे एंड में जो 15 सेकंड होगा ना, उसमें वो बहुत ज्यादा फास्ट एक्साइट होके बहुत सारा बोलेगा। और फिर जैसा वो 1 मिनट हुआ ना, हम्म हम्म, तो आप उसको दिखाओगे कि उसको बोलना नहीं है। वो एक बार हो गया, उसके बाद फिर उसका जो 5 मिनट टाइमर होता है ना, जैसे ही वो बोलता है ना, तो आप वैसे ही करोगे तो उसको समझ में आएगा कि उसको नहीं बोलना है। इन दिस सिचुएशन ऑल्सो ट्राई नॉट यूजिंग एनी लैंग्वेज। आप भी मत बोलो उस टाइम पे, क्योंकि उसको वो एक्सपेक्टेशन समझ में आएगा कि मुझे बोलना ही नहीं है। तो जैसे ही वो बोलेगा ना, वैसे ही आप तो उसको क्यू मिलेगा कि मुझे नहीं बोलना है। और आप उसको ये काफी, आपको पहले काफी सारा काम करना पड़ेगा इसके लिए। सो मे बी यू हैव टू डू दिस 100 टाइम्स इन द डे। लेकिन कंसिस्टेंटली अगर आप ये करते रहोगे तो 100 का होपफुली वो कम होके 50 टाइम्स, 30 टाइम्स, फिर वो शायद सिर्फ आपको 2 या 3 बार उसको वो रिमाइंडर देना पड़ेगा कि क्वाइट टाइम। और वो जो क्वाइट टाइम का जो आप विजुअल बनाओगे, वो ऐसे सिर्फ क्वाइट टाइम, अगर वो रीड कर सकता है तो सिर्फ आप क्वाइट टाइम बना दो। तो फिर नेक्स्ट अगर फ्यूचर में अगर कभी वो आवाज करे तो आप सिर्फ वो क्वाइट टाइम को पॉइंट आउट करोगे और उसको पता चल जाएगा कि मुझे बोलना नहीं है, मुझे ये काम कंप्लीट करना है।
ओके।
ठीक है,
ओके।
वर्क्स?
ओके मैम, थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
Sure. Thank you so much. So I think we've covered all the questions. Miss Kritika, just give me 1 minute. I'm going to just quickly check all the questions. Yes. You have to do it consistently. Slowly, the child will understand. And there is one question for you. What is the reason for throwing behaviors? My child is throwing all his toys under the bed, sofa. He's throwing other items also.
Okay, so for this throwing behavior, I think we need to make the child first understand that where things are kept, you need to show him visually that these things are going to be here and this is what going to be here. So it's also going to work that once he throws away his things, we can also just make the child to keep it back in the place. When we say is redoing the environment, when the child has done this behavior, we asking the child to correct himself by making him do it by keeping it back in the place than we doing it, or we not addressing him while doing this behavior. Once he does throwing it, we ask him, please pick it up and keep it back in its place. So he's going to correct his behavior by doing it himself. Right? And
Correct.
yeah.
Yes. So that's a great one. So you're just teaching him what is expected. So he needs to remember if he's throwing, he has to pick it up. So once he makes that connection, so agar wo 1,000 times फेंकेगा तो उसको he'll have to go through that whole thing of picking up again and again. Ms. Kritika, I'm just curious, just to understand, is this like how can we relate this to chaining strategy that you said? Is there a way of doing it?
Sorry, like you mean like connecting the behavior into chaining?
Yes, I'm just curious for myself to understand.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So the concept of chaining that you thought, is there somewhere that we can relate it to the question that we just had?
So I think while saying chaining, it is again you're asking the child to complete the task one after the other. When he is using the throwing behavior, we can say that once he plays, it is again a cleanup time and again keeping it back into routine and keeping it back into place than not throwing it away. So this can also be taught stepwise that it's a play routine. Once you finish playing, you're going to take first step is taking it from its place, playing with it, and again keeping back into its place. So maybe we can connect it this way as a step.
Sure. So that's a great one. Yes. This was a question personally from me. So I really see that connection. So I think it is also to give a sense of purpose to it. So probably that will help. I think that is all that we have. There are few suggestions from Mrs. Madhuri. She says give more proprioceptive activities, give more throwing activities with ball. We will sure post those activities on the group. Besides, I think Ms. Kritika, you've done a fabulous job helping us with dealing with things at home and creating a very home-friendly environment for the children. I think we are towards the end of it. I think we've addressed all the questions. Thank you so much, parents, for being a part of this interactive session and a great learning space. We hope to see you again in June with a lot of parent webinar series. Thank you so much, Ms. Kritika, to put in all your expertise into this beautiful presentation and sharing about it. It was a pleasure having you on board.
Thank you so much, Riddhi, for also supporting me. And I would like to thank parents for spending their evening and listening through me through this webinar. And we would all see you soon. And yes, we will be sharing the recording with you and also our contact details on the group so that you can get in touch with us for any help required in the future. Thank you so much, parents. Have a wonderful night and a weekend. Thank you.
Yes, we will share the recording on the group, Mrs. Shagufta. Please refer to the group. And there are other recordings in our YouTube channel as well. So you can see the past recordings over there as well. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in.